Take one, be uplifted podcast.
Yeah. She's getting better and better. About to replace you, Rich.
Good.
Good.
I need to retire.
Someone fucking finds love, all of a sudden wants to retire and shit. Jeez.
Now that we found love,
What are we gonna do? I love this couch thing. Oh my gosh. Okay.
The couch or this?
Just both of it, like everything. I'm like, ooh, I could be comfy.
You're welcome.
This is from Wendy.
Oh, really? Nice.
This one.
Thank you, Wendy. All right, on 3, my friends. 1, 2, 3. Hi. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of
Be Uplifted.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. What are we talking about?
So, real quick, because people got places to go, people to see, sleep, to do. So we wanted to talk about, we're missing Lonnie again. Lonnie, we miss you. We were actually going to film another episode and with her, but she actually couldn't make it today. So here we are, just the boys again.
Just the 3 of us.
I'm surviving, guys, just in case you were wondering.
Looking for love in all the wrong places. Anyway.
Are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, thanks. So today I wanted to talk about suffering in silence. Ooh. Okay.
As we get silent.
I know. I'm like, hello, where's my backup when I need her? So I just kind of wanted to talk about that because I think we got on this little topic behind the scenes about how a lot of times us in general, adults in general, people in general suffer in silence. And I wanted to touch on a little bit about that. And one of the things I had asked behind the scenes, I was like, for example, when was the last time you cried? When was the last time you cried? When was the last time you cried? And everyone, besides Rich, because, you know, Rich has such a fantastic fucking life, was like last week, yesterday, I don't know, every day, you know, and I was just kind of like,
I'm crying right now.
yeah, you know, and same, like very, very recently, you know? And so I was like, you know, that's really sad because here we are, we're a circle of friends and we don't even know when the last time a person cried.
Well, actually, wait, let me retract. Let me rephrase. Let me take that back. I cried at 4:35 today when I found out everybody was going to be here at 9.
Okay. Awkward silence. So what he's insinuating is that he waited around at till 9 again when he wanted to get this shit done early. So sorry, Rich. What do we need to do to make it up to you? It's let you quit because I'm not letting that happen.
No, I was kidding.
Okay. So yeah, suffering in silence. We were just talking about how like a lot of times you don't even know that your bestest friends are going through it. So let's speak a little bit about that. So what do you think about adults and people in general suffering in silence? What do you think why do you think it's so hard for people to like reach out to even their best friends and be like, hey, I'm fucking struggling today?
Well, I don't want to be a burden. That's my main thing.
Yeah. A lot of times, you know, it depends on your friends group. Like you can't share everything with everybody because you don't know, they don't even, if they don't got their shit together, they can't help you get your shit together either. Even though realistically you just want somebody to be able to listen to you, but most of the time people don't really know how to listen.
I feel like I need another girl on this podcast, you know, one of the interns, if they would want to come in, because this is very much male energy where it's like, ain't nobody got time to listen. I'm like, damn. Okay.
Well, I mean, okay. What do you think the difference is between the guy's perspective and the girl's perspective when they are suffering
in silence? Why do women suffer in silence?
I think it's a lot of the same reasons as far as reasoning goes, because same, like I probably cried yesterday if I really think about it. And yesterday. And I could think of a handful of females that I could call that I know would listen and genuinely know that they would be there, but I don't because I don't want to be a burden. So, but the difference in the male and female is, do you know that you could call a best guy friend and really believe that he's going to listen?
Yes.
But you don't want to burden them because a lot of times I feel like you guys are kind of just like, why? There's no point. And it's more like a logical, technical thing. Like, what does it accomplish?
So
You know?
it's not a burden though, because like, but there's different reasons why I would have an issue, and I compartmentalize, I guess is the right word, to the things that I want to share and the things that I have to share.
Yeah.
And the things that I don't want to share.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you know this, I'm going to the gym. I'm older than a lot of the people that are starting a hobby that I'm doing. And my coach, he pushes me really hard. Like today we did like back to back only chest routines. So it was like 2 hours of just chest workouts. And yeah, like there are some times that I'll hit him up, and it's not like an emotional thing or anything like that, but it's like, yo, dude, I feel like one time he put me through a diet thing, and I was like, dude, I feel really depleted. Is this normal? Blah blah blah. He's all like, yeah, we just want to see how tilapia is going to affect your diet versus like chicken breast or so on and so forth, or taking out this many carbs or giving you this much, you know. And I'm very strict with my diet, so like he dials it in. But those are things that it's like, okay, this is something that's bothering me, you know. Should I be feeling this way? Yeah, I'll share that with the right people, but I'm not gonna go to like you and just be like, oh, I feel like lethargic right now. And it's like, why? I'm just sharing my my pains with somebody that didn't really need to hear bad news right now.
I think that's the difference. When going back to your question, that kind of like speaks to it exactly. For me, in my opinion, I keep hitting this mic, I'm sorry. For me, from a female perspective, like you said, I don't share it with certain people unless there's a purpose, right?
Yeah.
I don't think girls look at it in that very logical and technical way. Like, what does it accomplish if I share it with person A or person B? I think females look more for the connection, right? They're looking for the connection and that like soul, like I'm going to trauma dump on you right now, and I know that my best friend actually cares and she's going to be there to listen, even though she can't help me, and she's okay with that. Whereas like a guy, like I don't think, like for example, you two, I would never come to you two with my problems. Ever, ever, ever. I'll tell you, I'm going through shit. I'm going through shit, but the reason for that is not because I don't think you care. I know you both are very caring men, and I know that you guys care about me as a person, even though you guys talk shit every single time we're on this podcast.
Oh, no, other times too.
Okay, well, whatever, you know. And I know that you guys are good friends. Like, I've seen you guys go above and beyond your friends. Like, you're some of the nicest people and giving people that I've ever met. But
I got a reputation.
But I would never come to you with my problems because you guys have made it very, very clear, like, well, if you come to me and there's no solution, then what's the point, you know? Or
No. Don't come to me if you don't want a solution.
Yeah, so, but sometimes there is no solution to my problem. Like, sometimes I just had a really fucking shitty day and I want to fucking vent about it, and there is no solution, but I want to talk to somebody, a confidant, and like fucking vent. And I know I could go to a girlfriend for that, and I know she would be there and she would listen happily. Whereas like you two, I would never talk to you about that because you guys would probably, in my eyes, the way that you speak about it on podcasts, right? I perceive it as you guys would see it as like complaining or like pointless talking, you know, because it's like.
Okay, so this is where you girls are thinking I'm a misogynist. So I see it like this. When guys have a problem, they want a solution.
Yeah.
When girls have a problem, they want attention.
Right, and that's why I would never talk to you about anything, because that's how you perceive it.
So if you preface it that, hey, I just want to vent, I'll listen. But if you just start telling me problems, I'm going to look for solutions. Our main go-to, our auto response is, okay, something's bad, let's fix it. Versus like if I were to talk to a girl about any of my problems, oh, that's too bad, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. They might eventually get to like the logic and start to answer it. But then it's like, you just wasted my time, you know?
And yet again, why I would never talk to you about anything, because you perceive it as wasted time instead of like,
No. But
I walk away from conversations like that, whether it be you or you. Like you guys have shared some personal stuff with me. Yeah. Lonnie has shared some personal stuff with me, and I walk away from that not going like, of course, A, like, man, I wish I could help them, and if I can, I do.
Yeah.
But B, I'm like, that was like a really deep moment for me, and I'll never forget that conversation. And I want that person to know that they can always feel safe with me in that kind of speaking of whatever they're going through, you know, whereas like you're kind of just like, okay, well, what was the point? Even my texts with you now are different now that I get to know you, right? I'm like, okay, I'm not going to explain because Vince doesn't give a fuck about the explanation, you know? Yeah. Whereas to me, it's like, I'm explaining out of courtesy. I'm explaining out of like, I want you to know who I am deeper as a person, but you see it as wasted time. So now I'm just straight to the point, like, nope, can't make it, like, or yes, no, you know, like, because I know that that's how you perceive it, which is why I'm like, in my opinion, it's very different between men and women. Like, we all suffer in silence, but the difference behind it is the reasoning behind it is very different, in my opinion.
Okay.
The one thing for me is that I get frustrated when I can't help you solve the problem. I get what you mean, where you just sometimes you want to vent, but then it keeps me uneasy. Like deep down inside, I just feel uneasy throughout the and it's almost like while you might think that just me being there and listening to you vent is a great thing, is a very meaningful thing, for me it's a frustrating thing.
Right. Which is kind of like why I wanted to speak about this, right? Because I feel like we all suffer by ourselves, and you know, there's some things that I could come to you and be like, hey, Kuya, I have something that I'm going through. What do you think about this? You know, and I genuinely want your opinion.
You can drown the crabs.
Huh?
You can drown the crab.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I didn't know that. Do I have to add salt to it?
No.
But yeah, you know, like there's certain things that you speak on the podcast, right? And I'm like, oh, I should ask Kuya about that because I'm going through it and I heard that he kind of like experienced that in the past or whatever. But then I like literally pull back because I'm like, no, I don't want to fucking waste his time. You know, like I don't want to waste his time. I don't want to annoy him.
No,
you
see,
know?
but if you're going to call me because you're going to ask for advice, I can give you that advice.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the solution. But if you just go, hey, Kuya, can you just, don't say anything. But this is what happened today. I went over there and then fucking act right. You know what I'm saying? No, sorry. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I just like, sometimes it's like, it kind of makes me feel uneasy because I can't help out.
Right. Well, which goes back to the topic of suffering in silence, right? I feel like that's why a lot of people do that, is because they're really afraid of what the other person on the receiving end is going to receive it as. Like, I don't know if here's another example of why, like, me personally suffer in silence. I always think people think I'm talking or telling them my problems because I want pity, right? Like, oh my God, she is telling her sob story again, you know, or
right.
Here she is fucking, woe is me, Ari, you know, like, and it's not even that. It's just like, oh my God, like, I feel this way. I thought that you were a trusted confidant, and I wanted to tell you what I'm going through because it's what I'm going through. It's how I'm feeling. And I'm coming to you thinking that I'm not being judged, right? But I've been through it where it's like, oh, I didn't know that behind the scenes they were like, oh, fuck, she's a fucking crybaby. You know, like that's another reason why I suffer in silence. Whereas like men, like I feel like, so you guys can kind of elaborate on that. Yours is more very logical. Like if the person can't come with a fucking solution, and then there's no point. There's no time.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. Like, you know, you'll text, you go, oh, sorry, I forgot. I've been going through some shit. In my head, when I'm reading, I'm going to go, well, what is that shit? Can I help out with it?
That's your first reaction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's if people...
See, you would never know, because the reaction would be like, well, you should fucking go... There's some smart-ass response back, you know? Whereas like Lonnie, who is a female, will say... oh, I'm so sorry, babe. Let me know if you need anything, you know? And you guys will be like, even when I was like almost crying on the podcast, right? Lonnie was like, it's cool. It's because this is real. Like, this is real. It's okay, babe. Which is like the words of affirmation, which you guys all know as my love language. And then you turned around, which I wasn't offended by. I'm just saying it's an example, right? Like you turned around and you're like, don't cry. And then you made some smart ass comment. And I was just like, cool. I was really happy you actually did that on the podcast because it took the light off of me like crying. So I was happy about that. But in real life, I would have been like,
that wasn't
well,
my
there's
intent
that.
the whole time.
you know? Shut the fuck up. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's also different when it comes to, like, from the guy's perspective of why we suffer in silence. It's a lot of times it's just there's a lot of shame in what we have to reveal.
Okay, so this is kind of what I wanted to dig deeper in, like that portion, like the feelings behind it, because girls are more vocal about that, right? Like, so you're saying that sometimes with guys, there's a sense of shame that you are dealing with something.
Yeah, or no, or I can't, like, it could be marital, it could be financial, it could be something that you can't get your shit together, but your whole life you're always taught to get your shit together. So now if when shit starts hitting the fan and you're just everywhere, and a lot of times it's not even your fault, you're just so like you're just so much shit that's going on.
Yeah.
You just can't figure things out, and you just want to vent. You know, sometimes there's a shame because there's a little bit of shame because you can't get it all figured out. Am I gonna talk to my friend that has his shit straight, and you know he has the house, the family, the Tesla in the driveway? How would I look if I'm going, fuck, man, I can't get my finances together?
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? I feel like now they're looking down on me.
Okay, so remember I told you guys a few episodes back about that barbershop talk where they're like, oh, it sounds like homeboy needs to get his ass whipped, right? Because he wasn't getting his shit together, as you said, to be like a better husband and wife or husband and father, etc. And they're like, oh, he just needs to get his shit together. And they're like, one of the first questions that one of the dudes in the barbershop asked me, they're like, well, does he have homies to fucking help him, like tell him like, hey, you're not being a good husband, you're not being a good father, you're not being a good friend? And I was like, well, he doesn't tell his shit to people, which is why they can't tell him to get his shit together. You know, he presents very responsible. So how do you think, like, what is the solution to that? That seems like a very vicious cycle to me. Like, there's shame, but then there's also this sense of like, well, you need that wise counsel. You need that guidance from your friends or from someone close to you. But how can you get that if you're not speaking to it?
If you guys are really close friends, you would know. And I think it becomes, it's up to you as a friend to go, hey man, everything going on? Like we don't do that. Our guys don't go, hey man, everything going? You good?
So you think that's something that's needed but
You
is
good?
lacking?
Hey, if wherever you need anything, just holler, and you just keep that going. But I mean, I don't have friends like that.
Yeah.
I mean, not here, at least in San Diego. You know what I mean?
Do you think if you had friends like that here in San Diego, you would be more open to talking about your shit to that person?
Yeah.
Do you think it would serve you better? Like, do you think you'd be doing better if you had that person here?
No.
No? Doesn't make a difference?
No, I don't think it makes a difference. I mean, I'm still thinking about the solution to the problem. So the solution to the problem does not get resolved because I told somebody.
So I'm hearing from a male's perspective, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, that essentially at the end of the day, you suffer in silence, but all you're thinking about is, despite your feelings, you're thinking about how to fix it.
Yes.
Whether you're sad, angry, frustrated, feeling defeated, you're still thinking about how to fix it at the end of the day, which is why you're not dealing with the emotional part.
Right. And that's why
You agree with that?
That's why it builds up.
Well, I clear my emotions because if I'm going to fix a problem, I can't be emotional when I'm doing it. You know what I mean? It's like if I just got my heart broken, right? Like an emotional response is throw all of her shit out.
Yeah.
Right? But if I'm logical about it, I just chill. And then I invite her somewhere. And then I tell her, hey, I want to have a beautiful date with you. I'm sending an Uber. We're going to have dinner. I'm going to have the Uber take her to Pachanga.
I'm waiting for it.
Right? While she's on her way there, me and Rich are in a U-Haul taking all of my shit, packing it up.
So don't talk about it. Just
don't talk.
healthy.
Okay. Oh, What's a better scenario?
Well,
Going crazy, packing all of your shit, driving with tears in your eyes on the freeway, not having a destination to go, just cursing to God or whatever because, you know, like you're in a rage and then you get drunk. Or, right, you set up, you split the bank accounts, right? You manage to get her out of the house for a good 3 hours while you and your friends pack all of the shit. You make sure that all of this stuff, all of the bills are transferred under her name.
Is she crazy? Is that why this scenario is happening?
No, I mean, look,
That you can't just break up with her normally?
Listen, let me tell you something. being conniving and vindictive is also fucking emotional.
Yeah, but it's logic too.
No, it's not.
Yep.
There's no. Do you know that most of the time in our lives, we never use logic? Mm-hmm. It's always emotion.
Of course,
everything we do is based on emotion, never logic.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that drives you to plan all this out and make it logical.
Well, one, it's funny.
Define logic. No, it's not.
No, okay.
Define logic.
You can say that it's not a logical response, but if I put both of those emotional responses on the table, you can choose which one is a lot more logical. And me not having anything under her name and not having her in control of my money.
The emotional response in you would pick the one, and then you would define it as logical. But it's actually you choosing is based on your emotion.
So if if everything is an emotional choice, you can lay out those emotional choices and then logically pick from them.
Why can't the logical choice be speaking to her and that's why I'm like, is this like a psycho girl? Is that why you have to like dip out and cut shit without her knowing?
Yeah, let's say she's like Latina, or say she's a Cancer. You know what I'm saying? Or both.
I mean, logic is if you jump off of this bridge, you're gonna die. Mm-hmm. So are you gonna jump? Yes or no? That's the logical.
Well, that's why he's saying it's logical, because he's like,
emotion.
Am I going to?
No,
I get what you're saying.
I'm saying, I don't know. He planned all that out until, but you just told us it wasn't emotional.
I'm thinking like, okay, I did that once, right? I literally had to do that with my psych, but because he was a sociopath, like a diagnosed sociopath. Okay. That was the guy. I did that. What did you do? I had to literally plan a time and get a U-Haul when he wasn't there because he was crazy, and like Ackright helped me fucking pack up my shit in the apartment that was in my fucking name, you know, and I couldn't get what was in our name, but that didn't do with logic. It was like there's some fear based in there, some desperation, which is all that's why I said, was this bitch crazy? Because that's my reasoning. I was like, fuck, I'm about to get my ass beat, so let me dip out of here as fast as I can with all my shit, you know? Like,
no, but wasn't that a better scenario
than him being there,
as opposed to you?
But that's not logic.
No,
it's logical because it worked out better.
I see what you're saying, but I agree with that.
I mean, somebody look up the definition of logical.
Well, think of it. Well, my point is basically this: lay out all of the options that you have, even if they're all driven by emotion. Mm-hmm. But if you can choose the best outcome based on the perceived outcomes of all of the options, that's a logical decision.
Agree to disagree. We're just gonna have to hit that button today. But I get what you're saying, Vince. I do.
Either way, point for the boys.
Hey, put it on the whiteboard.
Yep.
Put it on the whiteboard.
That's so fucked up. Lonnie, you fucking left me here with how many episodes with these motherfucking boys by myself? Gosh. Okay. So
I followed the How to Be Successful plan.
I know. So you should run this podcast because you're already more successful than me. You got a whiteboard and you're using it. Mm-hmm.
That's 2 New Year's resolutions today. Checked off.
Nice. Very, very nice. So how do you guys think that that's serving you, suffering in silence and trying to find the solution on your own? Has that served you well?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll say this too. If I were to cry wolf which is what I think that a lot of people do when they just want the attention, then when I have a real problem, somebody may be reluctant to answer the phone. Like if Rich calls me at 4 a.m, I know that it's important. And no matter what's going on, the first thing that he's going to hear me say is I'll probably answer the phone and say, send me your location, and you'll hear me getting in the car.
Would you answer my phone call, Rich, at 4 a.m. if I called you?
Yes.
Would you really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so nice.
Yeah, because you don't call me
You'd
for
be like,
bullshit.
bitch, stop
though.
complaining.
No, but see the fact that you don't call me for like any bullshit or like, oh, I don't know what to do for, we're gonna eat Thai food tonight, but we had it this morning, like leftovers from this. Like you don't call me with that bullshit. You call me with like real stuff.
Oh, okay. So you know how earlier in the podcast we talked about the guy that you were talking about how like don't let your emotions run you and don't like freak out because what's the point? Like we kind of touched on that last time. The guy that like freaks out about little shit, right, in your day, and you're like, I don't do that. Like I stay calm and I don't let people know what's bothering me. And you said, you know, I find a solution on my own, even if I'm losing my shit in my head, because why should anyone else feel my stress or pain, right?
Yeah.
Because if I find a solution, then nobody else even has to know that I was stressing, right?
Yeah. What? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so I think that's really, really good. So what do you think about the person that is constantly fucking the opposite, the one that I described that was like my brothers and my uncles that were like stressing about time and being blah, 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 blah. Do you think that's because they are bottling up much deeper emotion so it comes out in all of these other things?
Okay, so there's this thing I call, I always say multitasking is a lie.
Yeah, you've said that before.
Because the best quote unquote multitaskers that we know are actually great prioritizers.
Yeah.
So if you prioritize things in your life of things that you got to get done, you're never going to go back and forth. So what a lot of people do is they attack one thing, then all of a sudden they think about the other thing, that they stress out over this, so they jump over there. Then by the time they're over there, they jump over here. And then when you have to revert back to what you were originally doing, it takes you like 15 to 20 minutes to fully concentrate and start getting that shit done. And that's where that frustration becomes, because now you're all over the fucking place. So if you're dealt with a multitude of tasks, prioritize it due to importance. If this needs to be done by tomorrow, no shit, you got to get it done now. If this doesn't have to be done by Friday, you can move it to a different day. Just be aware that it has to be done by Friday.
But what do you say to that person that we talked about earlier that would do that about everything? Like every little thing would set them off, because you had mentioned that, right? You're like, well, there's obviously something deeper there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's what sets them off. It's basically it's a culmination of things. So, for instance, let's say there's something wrong with your car. You're trying to save money, so you're fixing it. So you know that's on the docket for today. That's on the plan of the day.
Yeah.
And then you got to pick up your kids from school. Then you probably have to go to work or figure out. Then your wife is bitching about you about some bills that you're stressed about some bills that need to get paid.
Yeah.
Then you're stressed about having to possibly, watch the football game. I don't know. It's just something. But if you're trying to get all those things done at the same time, it's going to fucking drive you crazy.
Right.
So next thing you know, you're over here you're hurrying, trying to pick up your kids from school.
But I'm saying, like, what if it's not even task driven? You know what I mean? Like, what if this person is constantly losing their shit and it's not task driven? Do you think that it's because of that? Because men always bottle up emotions, so there's little things that trigger them. Like, okay, your mom is sick, you're fucking about to lose your job, your marriage is fucking falling apart, your fucking teenage daughter hates you, and then the fucking toilet won't flush and you lose your shit. Do you think that's why? Because you bottle that all up, and then something triggers you and you're just like,
look, I might be...
Not you personally.
No.
But like, you know.
I'm gonna steal this line from Vince.
Oh shit! What did I say?
Dun, dun, dun.
No.
By the way, I want that as a instead of the
Yeah. Here it is. I'm not saying that it is, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Here we go.
No, everything is pretty much task driven. I think you're looking at tasks like fully like like trying to do homework. But trying to fix your marriage is a task too. There's things.
Yeah,
that,
but I'm talking about like flushing the toilet is not a task, and then you lose your shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because you should have fixed it. That's a task.
Or okay, for example, I'll throw my husband under the bus. Like
Sorry.
he'll be really, really stressed because of multiple things, right? And our kid won't close the door, and he'll fucking go off on him. Like, I fucking told you, Henzo, how many times to fucking close it? And I'm like,
So
whoa.
why didn't he fix the things he was stressed about first?
But that's what. The question is that's why, right? Because he hasn't solved the problem.
Yeah, no.
So
okay,
why,
okay, I get what
yeah,
you. Yeah. Obviously, you're when you're being pulled, and then your stressors are now elevated, and you're trying to complete simple tasks. But again, if you're going back and forth, especially if when somebody has like ADHD or whatever, you try to write something, try to do something. Leave, do the dishes, come back. It'll take you almost an hour to get right back to where you were at, the groove.
Yeah.
And if you don't take that time and then you jump again, all you're gonna have is this frustration that you're never gonna get things done. So you're just gonna go around in a circle, and all of a sudden you're like, "Fucking close the door," because your mind just can't get back to just that simple state of what you're trying to accomplish.
Okay, so I know you're not taking this in a more like deeper emotional level. So which is good, right? Because you're a man, and this is for the men out there. So what is your solution to that?
Gaslighting.
What is your solution to that? No, I'm not fucking. You don't obviously look up gaslighting, motherfucker, because you don't even know what that shit means.
Joke's on you. I don't have to re-look it up because I never looked it up in the first place. Another point for the boys.
So there's a young man out there that's struggling with that. What is your solution for him? Like, hey. Like fucking take a breath, make a plan.
Yeah,
like
no, yeah, okay. In that case, yeah, you have a notebook, write things down like a checklist of what you have to get done, and breathe. Like not everything doesn't have to be done that very minute, unless you procrastinate. Then that's your fault.
Yeah. So do you think that being able to like I was telling Anthony this before, I was like, being able to pivot is something that's very important because in our life, nothing is set. Like our life is so chaotic with the different people and the different factors. So we have to be able to pivot when necessary. Do you think that that's true? Like, would you agree with that you have to be able to pivot in times like that when there's things that pop up and things to not fucking lose your shit? Like, are you good at pivoting? Like, if shit was going down and, like, your daughter was like, Dad, I need you to come right now, would you be able to calmly be like, okay, hey, guys, I have to pivot. Like, we need to change. Or would you be, like, super stressed and like, oh, fuck, like, I had this planned. Like, how do you handle that? You're not good at pivoting either. Is that why you can't answer?
No, I'm like thinking, okay, if I was in this scenario, my daughter calls, no matter what I'm doing, I'm pivoting. I'm going to see her. But I was like thinking of that other scenario. It's like, oh, what if I was bad at pivoting? It's like, Dad, I really need you. It's like, oh, honey, I'm next in line.
He would say that though. He would literally. He would be like, fuck, Jocelyn, I was just about to be up. He would say that.
No, I think
they're going to call my number next. God damn it.
Okay, so if it's a truly emergency,
you have to.
I have to.
Yeah.
But if you come up with me some bullshit that you could have told me 3 days ago that I had to do, then I'm pissed.
Right.
Right? You can't drop things on people and expect them to be able to pivot for your benefit. Right? So if baby mama decides, oh, I'm gonna go out with my friends on Friday, I need somebody to watch the dogs, and it's Thursday night at 10:30 in the evening, and I already got plans for Friday.
What if you don't have plans though?
It doesn't matter.
What if you don't have plans?
It doesn't fucking matter.
Why?
How do you know?
What if it wasn't your baby mama? That's the thing. Like, I feel like that is very personal. So you'd be annoyed no matter what. You know what I mean? But say, like, I called you and you weren't doing shit. And I was like, hey, Rich, I need help because I got a flat tire. Or maybe not something urgent. I need a ride. I need a ride somewhere. You know? Would you be annoyed
that's an
with
emergency.
that?
No. But I'm saying,
But it's not an emergency. I just want you to take me somewhere.
it's just so dumb. What the fuck? Here's my Uber. No,
Rich,
but no.
I don't have a car. I have no car. I'm hungry. I'm like, hey, Rich, I could get Uber Eats, but I'm cheap. Can you come pick me up? You're not doing anything, right?
It costs me way more money to drive to your house.
Yeah.
No,
He said no.
no, that doesn't make sense.
Why?
That wouldn't stress me out.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. You can pivot like that. Okay.
No, for me, it's a bunch. It's when you want to schedule things that benefits you, and I have to pay the price for it.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you decide you want to go out on a Friday night, and you go, oh, Rich has nothing to do, so I'm gonna go ask him to watch my kids. Motherfucker, what? You know what I mean? Like,
But what if you're not doing anything?
But
Just kidding.
last minute, you want me to watch your kids and you go out partying?
But what if you're awesome and you're their favorite uncle and I want to go party because I haven't partied in like 3 months?
But what if then what if I told you I just want to stay home and jerk off?
Then that's your prerogative. But I can't ask you. Like, damn.
No, you can ask me. I'm probably gonna,
Would you get mad though?
Internally, yeah.
You get mad that I asked you?
No, I'll be like, what the fuck? Like, I just want to stay home. I wouldn't be as mad as, I guess it would be different based on who's asking.
Yes, exactly. You can't lie about that. Like,
mean-
it does matter who's asking, because I know goddamn well if my baby daddy called me and was like, hey, so I'm gonna go on this date. Like, can you give me some money or some stupid shit like that? Like, hey, can you actually? Why am I saying he hasn't watched our daughter since she was born? So never mind about that.
You'd probably be really surprised.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Like, oh, you want to watch her? Oh my god. But yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have something to say, Vince?
No, I was just gonna say that there's a very current situation that just happened that fits in this whole narrative.
Oh, about someone not being able to. Oh yeah, I got you.
The one.
How we had to pivot today because changes were made. And he was actually mad, so I see that.
I wasn't mad.
I know. I'm joking.
I wasn't mad either. I was irritated though. But we still pivoted.
What's the difference between mad and irritated?
Irritated is a less of it's a
It tickles your booty,
yeah
but not penetrates.
So it's like being in heck but not hell.
yeah pretty
Yeah.
much
Okay,
yeah.
got it. Oh, I like that, like the little comparison.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was at HE double hockey sticks before you even get to the heck and the hell.
Okay, that's cute.
That's the last time I cried.
Oh. Okay. So, do you have any advice to men out there that are suffering in silence? I don't know if I want you to give advice, because motherfuckers, you be leaving like, you be like, yeah, suffer in silence, motherfucker.
Do it. It's like, no. You want to go first?
Yeah. No,
Okay,
no,
even
no.
if it's not advice that you would take yourself, what is some healthy, because we're our own biggest sabotagers, like what is some healthy advice that you would give to people listening about how to, like, if they are suffering in silence from a male perspective?
You want to go first?
No, go ahead, Vince.
So earlier I said go to the gym. That was the advice that I had for the other one, because you have that consistency that you can have that reliability on the things that are just going to always be the way that you know that they're supposed to be. And that way you'll be able to take a mental reset. Because like I said, I've never left the gym upset. I've always been able to leave with a clear mind. Even if I had to do something right away, be like, oh shit, I gotta go do this, but at least I'm hyper focused on that now because all of the other bullshit has left. And then learn what Rich was saying was to prioritize. And then what was the next one? It was so it's the things that I would say if you're feeling overwhelmed is sit down, collect yourself by going to the gym or do whatever else, right? Then learn how to prioritize, learn time management, and if you can, learn how to automate things. Because as he said before, there's no such thing as multitasking. But if you can automate a lot of the things that you have to do and you can set them going, you can do things simultaneously.
What about you? Word of the wise.
Well, aside from things that deal with multitasking and prioritizing, and as you would call it, task driven stressors.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's really like something that's affecting you, like affecting your mental health to the point
Right.
where you're losing sleep and it's the stressors in your life, I would suggest try to contact a therapist. If you know a chaplain, talk to a chaplain. Talk to maybe somebody that you would look at as a
Like a mentor.
like a mentor. A priest. Somebody at church. Just you have to find a way to relieve yourself of those stressors.
Have you ever used any of those remedies personally?
Kinda. I talked to my chaplain.
Have you ever used any of those healthy remedies before that he mentioned when dealing?
I'm not quite sure what a chaplain is, other than like a silent, like Adolf Hitler that dances.
You mean Charlie Chaplin? A chaplain's like a non-denominational figure, like a priest, but across like a lot of denominations.
Okay.
So therapy, talking to a friend, a mentor, or have you just spent?
Because I think this is where Ari's trying to get at. It's like it's not about like trying to get your shit figured out, straightened up, like like get your shit straight, figure it out. But it's more of like the mental health aspect of it. Is it good to harbor all of that?
Thank you, Rich. Yes. So you don't have any advice because you don't do those things?
No, I don't do those things. I
Okay.
mean, like it's if I get stressed or like if I get to one of those points where like I'm seeing red, I just beat my daughter.
Oh, okay.
Like we used to, like sometimes.
Did he say beat
sometimes,
his daughter?
Yeah, sometimes you don't. No, because like sometimes you feel like you're inadequate and stuff, and then like my daughter, she likes playing games and stuff, but I'm always better than her, so I'll go bowling with her. Don't take it easy on her. Just beat her at that. Beat her at pool. Like, she could probably beat me in a race now, but see, at least now that I done self-reflecting, I know not to race her in a foot race.
Have you always used comedy to help deflect when you're not feeling comfortable?
I don't know what you mean.
She means now.
Now? I mean, I don't know. Tell me a joke.
Like when you don't want to deal with a specific emotion or something, do you tend to crack jokes or like make it a funny thing or not take it seriously to help you deal with it better?
Like Chandler?
Yeah.
You
are Chandler.
Okay.
I don't even know the reference because I don't watch Friends.
If you don't, gosh, how are we friends if you don't watch Friends? Okay.
I watch The Heights.
He watches The Acquaintances.
What the
Perfect Strangers.
Yeah. With Balky.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Oh, I loved that show too. Okay,
I said that
too.
before, huh? Harriet. Yeah. But sometimes, and the times that I do it, I would think that I'm trying more to break the uncomfortable awkwardness or whatever. I mean, sometimes I just do it just to be a dick, but.
Okay, so you two always talk about how good you are at
Wow,
regulating.
that eye roll was just so.
You guys always talk about how you're good at regulating your emotions to the point where it's almost to a fault, right? Like you regulate your emotions so much that sometimes you don't show any. So let's not be that unhealthy. Let's talk about ways that you can tell the people out there that's listening in the audience. What are some healthy ways to regulate emotions when you are feeling like that, where you just want to fucking throw shit, since you have now mastered not doing that?
Hold on. So we came to a conclusion that that's unhealthy?
Well, harboring your emotions?
Yeah.
and
100%.
shutting down when
that will eat away at you.
Yes. I know that you've always
So
said,
wait, did I block that out? Did we come to that conclusion? I completely missed that. I thought that was.
Well,
I said that it's good, right? It's good for you to.
That's what I heard.
No. Look, let me finish.
Ari, wait, let me say.
Okay.
guys, I want you guys to refer to our last episode about building walls and facades.
Yes.
Wait, did I really block that out?
Yes.
We came to that conclusion that that's a bad thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait, I didn't have any rebuttals on this?
You were probably blocking it
No,
out.
you were talking about beating your daughter when you just have a problem.
Yeah.
So because
this is-
beating her feeds your ego.
Okay.
And then now you feel better.
That checks out.
Okay, so Rich, while he processes, what can you tell to some of our viewers? You know, because obviously you've lived a little bit longer than some of our viewers.
Wow.
You're so old. Just kidding. No, honestly, you do give a lot of like really good advice on here. So that's why I always like to check in from a male's perspective from you. You know, like, you don't throw your daughters down the stairs, for example. So
Kick.
Okay, I'm sorry. Kick. So what is some advice about that? About someone that, like, a man that doesn't have somebody to talk to, that's like fucking, or a young man that's like always losing his shit. Like, how do you regulate? Like, how have you learned to regulate your emotions the way that you have? Where you almost seem, I mean, obviously you're a human. I'm sure you have moments, but like where you're calm and you're able to do that, where you're like, okay, I can't let anybody know this right now.
Well, first of all, it's like leadership training, right?
Were you always this calm? Not calm, but were you always able to regulate, or is it something that you had to learn?
Not something. It's something you have to learn.
Okay, so continue.
It's something about like being entrusted with, leadership roles, and being able to make sure that you can regulate your emotions, so you can lead on an even keel, no matter.
Why do you think that that's important, to be able to lead on an even keel?
Because sometimes if we let emotions take control, we can make the wrong decision based on our emotion. So, like, for instance, if somebody came in and he was all like when people are fucking up at work, if you're a manager and you've never been taught how to lead, the first thing you're gonna try to do is just write the guy up and fire and eventually fire them,
or tell them how stupid they are, or something like that, and get yourself fucked over.
But you never go in and figure out, like, why is it that's happening? Like, why are you late? Because the more you ask, like, for instance, if I'll give you a scenario, a guy comes in to work and he's like, and he's 2 hours late, right? And then he's like, "Well, fuck, man, sorry, I'm 2 hours late. I'm the manager. I'm all pissed because he's fucking 2 hours late." And then you ask, "Hey, so why are you late?" And he's like, "Well, like last night, my sister was incarcerated, and now I have to take care of my nephew who's 8 years old. Like, I'm only 21 years old, and now I'm entrusted with having to deal with an 8-year-old overnight. Like, I don't even know how to feed an 8-year-old. I mean, I don't even know what school he goes to. I don't know the class schedule. But if you can't step back and actually find out what's causing certain things to happen to individuals, you're just going to be mad at him, and you don't even know that being 2 hours late is really so insignificant to what is going on currently in his life. And you have the opportunity to actually help him or guide him to somebody that could possibly help him in his situation. But you're just gonna go guns blazing, and you want to just write him up and eventually fire the guy.
So I'm hearing that part of regulating emotions is also finding understanding. Is that right?
Oh no, you always have to find understanding.
Okay.
Except for certain things, but
So finding understanding in the situations and why people do what they do.
yeah, I think that a lot of times it's just when as I said, when it comes to task driven things that you got to fix, I'm always gonna be like, well, fucking get it done. But when it comes to like that stressor about the shit that just gets put on you, like like the example
Life.
with now you're 21 years old and you have to take care of somebody's child.
Yeah.
That's not a task,
Right.
You know what I mean? That's an actual stressor,
Right.
and then that's something that you're gonna have to go, hey, fuck, I need help.
Yeah.
Right? You can't suck that up.
Right.
You know? And then the second question I'm gonna go, it's like, where the fuck's the child?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, he's in the parking lot.
Yeah.
What do you mean he's in the parking lot?
Yeah, get your ass home. Yeah.
You know, the 21-year-olds don't know what they're fucking doing.
Right.
So certain things like that, you just have to be really like, you gotta ask the right questions.
I like that. So to kind of help you self-regulate, you have to ask the right questions.
Yes.
I agree with that. I feel like you should ask the right questions to yourself and to whoever's involved in the situation. Yeah,
Right.
I like that. Okay. Oh my gosh. So Vince, what advice should I ask this question to Vince? So same question. What advice? Because you do it to a fault, right? To the point where you don't think there's anything wrong. But how do you do that? How do you remain so calm and even keeled? Like, I know you did mention in the last episode that a lot of it has to do with like, well, why would I want anyone to feel my misery? Like, misery loves company. That's not something that you agree with. How did you come to be so calm and able to regulate your emotions? Is it just because you've decided to fully shut down? Is that just what it is?
Well, I just figure like, okay.
I'm not laughing. I'm just
So
Just shut the door.
in the grand scheme of things, if you see like some things tend to build up, right?
Yeah.
But if you can attack it before it gets to that point, that's ultimately what we would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've learned is if you can identify a problem, solve it.
But what if there's no solution?
Then don't worry about it. Why would you worry about something that you can't control?
So not worrying about it is what helps keep you calm. Just being like, fuck it.
Just worry about something that you can control. Because like Rich was saying before, you're going to prioritize the things. The first thing that's on there, I have stomach cancer, right? Oh, well, I can't fix that. But what I could do is I could stack my money and give it to my daughter so that when I pass away, she'll be financially set.
So you
Right.
wouldn't be processing the fact that you got cancer. You would be thinking about money.
Yeah, how would
I don't
me
know that
thinking
that's healthy, but okay.
No. But how? Okay, well, I would consciously think, okay, well, I can't eat this anymore because it affects my stomach. I can't do this for this extended amount of time because then I'm gonna get super fatigued. I can't do this anymore because like that's when I'm doing chemo, you know. So yeah, address that. Like, still be responsible with the first things, but understand that you can't solve it. Then.
So does that mean you wouldn't like cry or be upset or share with like your loved ones? Like, I'm scared because I got, God forbid, but like I got diagnosed. Like, I'm thinking about like more of like your way of handling it on an emotional level. So you've talked about like, okay, I'm going to set all of these things up, which is more problem solving, right? But you just wouldn't process it emotionally at all?
Why?
Okay.
Would it be different if it was somebody else that you loved that actually got the cancer? Would you invalidate that feeling because you can't solve their problem?
Like if it was a loved one,
like for instance, like knock on wood, whatever, your mom.
Okay.
You find out she has cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Are you just gonna go, well, I can't worry about it because I can't solve the problem?
Well, yeah, I can't solve the problem, but I can make that time with her. I can make that more valuable. Like I could take less time here at the studio or whatever.
Yeah. No,
See, these are
like,
things that I can
Yeah,
control.
like the things you
But
can
the
control, but I'm saying the
Yeah.
emotional toll on you as you're
Yeah.
seeing.
Would you process that?
How do you like
Not in front of anybody. Like, why would I cry in front of my mom if she knows that that's the reason why I'm crying, to make it worse for her to spend her time with me?
So Audrey's question is like, would you find somebody like a confidant to be able to let all that out, or you just kind of internally shut it off and then pretend like
It's not happening.
you're crying in your bedroom every night, but every morning you're pretending like nothing's happened?
Pretty much. Is there another way to do it?
So that's the way he does it. Yeah. Okay.
No, but I mean, like with the thought process that I have, I don't want to burden anybody with anything that they don't need to be burdened with. I want to make sure that the time or the things that I can, that I do have control of, I'm taking control of it.
But don't you think that that's not healthy? For example, like, okay, for example, like I don't know your mom, right? In this pretend scenario.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't necessarily burden me if you came to me and cried about that or vented about that, but it would probably make you feel a whole lot fucking better that you released that emotion.
Yeah.
You don't understand that or feel that?
How would me spreading my misery make me feel better?
I don't think it's spreading your misery. I think it's just letting your emotions out, and then eventually you're not in this fight alone.
Right. Exactly. That's the perfect way
because
to put it.
at the end of the day, if something does happen to your parent, my parent, whatever, we're all gonna find out about it, and we want to be there to support you.
Right.
But it's not gonna be it doesn't do you any good to lay in a corner and just cry your eyes out and still feel like there's nobody there. There's nobody there for you.
But at what point do you think that I think that?
Because you're hiding.
Yeah.
No, I'm just not showing it.
No, you're hiding it though. You just said you didn't want to bother anybody, so you're hiding it from anybody. This is why I asked you specifically.
No, but that's perspective though. Like things that I keep to myself, I'm not hiding. I'm just not sharing it. Just like I have an Instagram that I don't post on. That doesn't mean that I'm not doing photo shoots. It's just that I just don't care who sees it.
No. What I'm saying is like, okay, Ari and I know what's going on. But every time we're asking you, you're not showing it. But you're saying, oh, everything's okay. You're technically hiding
your true
emotions from us because we know what is happening. Like to the outside world, yeah, you're not sharing, but to your close friends, you're actually hiding it.
This thing's like falling
but that's also something that like you guys can't control.
From the thing. See this?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hold on. Okay, thank you. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties.
I didn't do this one.
This guy.
Are we gonna have one of those like signs of play circus music? It says like
Be right back.
Yeah.
Be right back. No, our editor doesn't want to take the time to do that.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
So you genuinely think that that's a healthy way to process without talking to anybody about it?
Yeah.
Okay. I asked that because, okay, I'm very similar to you, right? I don't really call anybody or talk to anybody, even my bestest friends, about anything. But there's been some things in my life where it's been too much as of late, right? And I have like 2 solid girlfriends that I finally like told them everything that was going on. And even though it's not a fixable problem right now, knowing that that someone knows, and I could literally just text her now that she knows and be like, rough day. Or now, like, she fucking sends me a message. Like this morning, she said, I woke up to a message that just said, I love you, just because, you know, and that made me feel so good because it was like, I feel less alone today, you know, just to hear like that I love you because she knows that I'm going through stuff. And it's like, you don't think that would make you, that would benefit or bring value to you? You don't care about that? So
like, let's put this into like, I'll give you a scenario. Let's say if something happened, let's say I had a pet growing up, right? And it passed away. And my daughter was close to that pet. I might reach out to you or to Wendy and say, hey, my daughter's really taking this hard. Do you have any advice for me to talk to her about it? Something like that, I would reach out to my friends.
But it's not about you.
Yeah, it's not about me.
So you just don't talk to anybody about your problems?
Well, no, I know dogs die. So what?
All right, so there's no saving Vince. That's the that's the conclusion here.
Nah, I mean, people.
No, I'm just
no, it's gonna suck. But what am I gonna?
Even, okay, let's take out emotion, right? Even like scientifically speaking, there are literal studies that show that you letting go and releasing emotions, whether it be to a person, at a therapy session, in a Reiki session. Like, there is actual scientific like evidence that shows the difference in your body. Like, they've done body scans and stuff on stressors
Pulse
and how
rate,
it relieves
blood pressure.
exactly, and it like actually changes you. There's been people that have gotten sick due to stress. Like, their body has developed. I'll give you an example. I know, okay, so my ex's mom, right, the sociopath's mom, right? Me and her were very, very, very close. And she had been experiencing a lot of stomach problems. She had heart arrhythmias. Like, she started getting like all kinds of like normal, what they would perceive as normal things when you get older, right? So she just thought, I'm getting old. I'm coming up with some health things. What's going on? And what it really was her son, which was my crazy ex, was stealing from her. She knew that her son was a diagnosed sociopath now. She didn't know that if she loved him so much because that was her baby, and he presented very sweet, but we all knew he was a fucking sociopath. So we don't know if like he was going to fucking take something in the house, if he was going to manipulate someone again. So finally she had gone to the doctor, and she even did some therapy, and they were like, do you talk to anybody about this? And she was just like, no, it's my son. Like, I don't want, there's a sense of shame there. Right. And then, she's like, but I think about it all the time to myself. Like, I cry about it to myself, et cetera, et cetera. So long story short, they were like, all the cause of this stuff is stress. Everything that's going on with you is stress, and you internalizing these things. So I suggest you go to a therapist, you cut him out of your life, et cetera, et cetera. So she did those things. She stopped. She started going to therapy. She cut him out. She officially cut him out of her life, and the family essentially disowned him. And then all of her health problems literally went away. Her stomach, her vitals got better. Her stomach problems got better. Her heart arrhythmia,
Her ulcers got disappeared.
It literally, so she was like, it was wild because it literally physically manifested itself because I was holding it in so much.
But
so you don't think that even with those studies of like sharing emotion, that you would think it would benefit you?
I mean, to credit that, I'm not sick. So anything that I'm taking on currently, I can handle.
But I'll give you another example, like Ackright before I met him, right? So this is not even being sick.
Ackright, goddamn.
No, before I met him, he used to carry a lot of stress in his shoulders and his neck and shoulders. He would always be so tense about different problems because his baby mama at the time was fucking psycho. He was dealing with, he was dealing with not child support. What's that called? When you're custody, right? Custody, all of that. And I remember he used to always be like super fucking tight. And then I worked on him since that's when I was doing massage at the time.
Gluck, gluck.
Yeah, I did that too. Sorry. And he was just like, now he says it now. He's like, it's crazy because now I know the difference. Like, when I let it go, like I can feel myself when I'm getting tense again. Now that I know how to like let shit go, it's like he says I broke the glass for him. Like, now he recognizes when there's something fucking going on in his neck and back, when it's like stress and shit like that. So you've complained to me about back problems all the time. You complain, and I know you lift and stuff, and you're finding your own rationalizations, which he used to do. He'd be like, yeah, I think it's because I worked in an attic today, or oh, I think it's because I haven't gotten enough water. And it's like, or maybe you just need to fucking blow off some fucking steam, and you're stressed. And he's just like, oh yeah, I didn't realize that it physically manifested itself in me.
But if you don't care,
okay, so there it
how
is. He
does
doesn't care.
No, like you're saying that it stresses. Like I think that things can happen and you have no control of it. Mm-hmm. But then there is a certain extent of control that you have as far as like caring and reacting to it. And so if something bad happens to me, like when my car got hit, mm-hmm. I was like, oh man, that sucks. And then I texted my boss, and he said, okay, you're good or whatever. Mm-hmm. I was like, all right, cool. And no stress. Nobody got hurt. You know what I'm saying?
So
but
maybe
then there
you're
are
wording
some
it wrong.
people.
So are you saying that you don't stress about things, or you shut your emotions off about things? Because there's a very big difference there.
Can't they be both though?
What do you think about that?
Because like if
there's a difference between like not stressing and like regulating emotions and shutting off emotions. I feel like there's a very big difference there.
Well, okay, yesterday when I was driving, I got a flat tire. Some people will get like really frustrated with that and everything. I was like, oh, I have another car. And then my homeboy hooked me up. I went to the mechanic. They happened to.
Was that your reaction? You were like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he saw me yesterday.
Yeah, I pointed it out.
Yeah, I was like, oh well.
You're also calm too for him. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm like,
That
hey,
sucks.
you might want to put some air in your tires.
Yeah. What? So one time, my homeboy he ordered tires for me. We realized that one of them had a nail in it, and I always replace my tires as pairs at least.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what you're.
He's
supposed
all
to do,
like,
right?
okay, well, we don't actually have to replace this tire. I'll just patch it for you. I was like, cool. So the other tire that he ordered for me like 6 months ago, he just had it. And then it was like in inventory. He sold it to somebody. They wanted a different tire, but they already drove it on the road. So they took it back. And he gave me a free tire and just charged me labor. What's there to stress about?
Yeah.
Like if I were to sit there and just be like, oh my God, I can't deliver this last meal or blah blah this and that, it's like no, like I knew that stressing will only make my day worse. Like consciously, you know, if I lost my wallet, I'll just text my bank and just be like, hey, I just got to do everything off Apple Pay.
Okay, so but that makes sense in those small scenarios, right? Like losing your or flat tire, getting an accident. But like when Rich is talking about like your mom being sick, like that's where I feel like that's where you're shutting off emotions.
The thing is like that's the example that I put, but it's really hard to put yourself in that situation.
I'm not going to be able to do that
unless you're in that situation. I think that
I might kick a midget.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I have no idea what I'm going to do if like because my mom and my daughter are the two most important people in my life. You know,
yeah.
Right
I
now,
might kick a midget. Okay.
I don't know to what extent. Like my anger will.
And
come
everything's
out.
situational. Like you say, like you're like you have like uncles or whatever, somebody in your family that just gets mad over, that they can't find the tool and that and the whole house has to know. Well, what caused him to get there is really important too.
Yeah.
I mean, did it just blow up just to blow up?
Like every day.
Yeah, and then those are
that's what
literally
that's what we see though. Well, what exactly is it? Is the most important thing to find out. Yeah, because we could sit here and assume like, oh, that guy's just fucking stressed. Well, he needs to way to decompress. But what if he can't get away from the stressors? Right. So like the wife can be like, no fucking. I don't know. That guy's always stressed out. Well, what the fuck? What if it's you that's fucking? What if it's you that's spending all the money on stupid shit?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What if it's you that's mishandling the
So you're
funds?
saying that if someone is constantly stressed out every single day, that there's probably a deep reason behind it.
Oh, obviously there has to be.
Yeah.
And then yes, there's always a way to go out and talk to your friends like, man, what the fuck? I don't know what's going on in my life. Blah blah blah. It's spending all this money. That you have friends like that.
I think a lot of guys could be in denial though, because those said people that not all, but a couple of people that I mentioned literally went to therapy and like there was no conclusion. It was just like, no, I'm not stressed. That's just who I am.
No, then they're lying.
And that's my point, is a lot of people are in denial. That's literally what I'm trying to say, is I feel like a lot of men are like, oh, look, no offense, Vince, but I feel like you're not facing a lot of things. Like you say like, oh, I don't care. But I think that there's something deeper there. Like there is something that pushed you to not care,
I'm sure that there's been a time where I may have overreacted. I can't think of anything, but I'm sure that there was a time that I overreacted. It was probably when like my girlfriend at the time said some dumb shit, and then like I just cried like a bitch. And then looking back at that, I never want to feel like that again. And then looking back further than that, it's like, okay, there's some things that I probably did that might have, maybe she was justified to call me a bitch or like call me out on some of these things. So instead of like,
so you learn from your overreactions.
Yeah. So now I just try not to.
That makes sense.
Who cares?
I want to know. We might be veering off topic, but when you say I cried like a bitch,
like so
like it's almost like you lost yourself. Like you felt you felt stepped on, weakness.
I cried like a baby, and I was saying things that are out of character of what I think is normal. You know what I'm saying? like crying, like literally like ugly crying,
Yeah.
like not being able to breathe, but still trying to talk and shit like that.
Like in front of her?
On the phone. So that made it even worse.
Well, no. Because the thing is like, sometimes we look at that as sometimes crying like when people say like crying like a bitch, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
It's not your weakness. If somebody's manipulated you enough to have you cry like that, you've been manipulated.
Right.
But
So it's not like you cried like a bitch.
For no reason. Yeah.
I think we put the stigma on the crying and the emotion, and just because you got to that point, you're now weak. No, if no matter how strong you are, if you're gonna get manipulated, you're gonna get manipulated.
It's kind of
But
like what you
even-
said. You have to understand the reasoning behind it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But even still, the things that she did to make me get to that point, I probably gave her the ammunition to be able to say those dumb things, or to say those things about me because I was dumb, or because I wasn't taking responsibility, or I was overly analytical of a certain thing that happened, so on and so forth.
But do you think that scenario or that part of your life changed you from who you really are to who you are or not? Because you're creating barriers to protect that real Vince.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were like, you were loving, let's just say an example. I'm not saying it's you, but I'm saying like if you were like the loving, coddling type of person, and that's really who you are in your genuine self, because some wicked individual decided to manipulate and use that against you for their own good, you then turn around and now you're blocking. You've created these blocks and these walls and then these these basically these shields to protect the innocent Vince.
Because someone messed it up for you.
Yeah, because somebody manipulated you, basically like mentally raped you.
Mm-hmm.
Took away that innocence.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can't. So it'll take a lot of reflecting for me to really think about that. Off the top of my head, I would say that no, because the people that I am passionate about, I'm still I'm still very giving, and I can be nurturing, but like just with a more of a strict or sarcastic or whatever way. But I'm not, like, it's not all Disney for me anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I'm okay with that. And I'm actually happier with that.
Okay, so I have a question in relation to that. So you guys, talking about that, like, you guys have spoken before on this podcast about like when a girl wants you to be vulnerable, you're kind of just like, well, what's the point of like talking about the problem? But if your partner or your spouse, or not, you don't have a spouse, but you know what I mean, like your partner, your girlfriend, whatever, whoever your future whatever is going to be, it like is like, I need you to be vulnerable with me, though. I need you to share your feelings, and I need you to tell me when you've had a rough day. I want you to do that because it makes me feel like I know you. It makes me feel more connected to you. It makes me feel safe to share with you if you share with me. Do you deny her of that because you don't see the point in that?
Yeah, I say sucks to be you.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like, okay, if we're going to be in a relationship, we have to be compatible. And if that's not something that we're going to be compatible with, and if that's a deal breaker for me and she's not willing to compromise, then too bad.
Is that a deal breaker for you? You don't want to be with someone that requires you to be vulnerable?
No. So you were saying that in the sense that that was the scenario, that she needed that. And I was reluctant. Now, there are
most
certain
women
things,
do really need that. So
they have to understand that it's situational, case by case. There's going to be some things that I'm going to keep it to myself because there's no point in sharing it. And there's going to be some things where I'll be like, oh yeah, it was kind of frustrating that like the person that cut me off on the freeway was going slower than I was originally going, or some shit. Like I was in heck, And then there's ways that I can talk about, like say, oh yeah, I felt like I was in heck. That's a way for me to vent and have it as a funny story. But like every single thing, I'm not going to talk to her about. There are some things that I want to to keep personal. For example, and I'm not going to say what's happening, but something's happening like in the middle of the year. And you wanted to be part of that. And you said it's because I want to support you.
Right.
And I told you, no, I don't want you there.
Right.
So I see it as the similar scenario because I have to focus. I don't want to ignore somebody while I'm doing something. And even though you have the best intent,
Yeah.
it's against what my request is. Does that kind of line up with what you're...
I understand that, but that's essentially disregarding her feelings then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's also because like now we're talking about your comfort versus my mental health. Which one are you going to prioritize?
I see that.
And then again, with the thing that we were talking about, is this your support or my ability to perform?
Well, in relationships, right? You being vulnerable and you telling your girl how you feel and what's going on, she requires that to feel connected. So to you, it might be like, oh, that's for your comfort, but this is my mental health. But that is essentially something that is meaningful to her. So you don't think that that feeling is important or valuable?
So it is, but it's not higher on the priority list. It's just like in a relationship, you have to tell your girlfriend or your fiance, your wife, whatever, that you care about them. But if you cohabitate, you also have to pay the bills. Which one is more important?
Why can't both exist?
They both exist, but which one's more important?
But they don't both exist if you're saying, like, I'm not going to share them with you if I don't want to, and she's telling you, but
No.
I want you.
Just answer the question. Which one's more important?
Obviously paying the bills, but that's
okay,
different.
Exactly. No, but there's also those girls is like, why are you always at work? I don't feel loved anymore. It's like, okay, well, I have to either do this or I could spend time with you, loving you in the car, because we can't pay rent. So stop nagging me so I could do my job, and then we still have a place for you to nag me at.
You don't think that there's a happy medium there? So like that example, right? Hey, I don't feel loved by you. You work too much. Okay, fine. But maybe when you come home, you spend an extra 5 minutes to talk to her and be like, hey, what you said earlier about not feeling loved, like I want you to know that I heard you and I do love you and I'm sorry that I had to work so much. So you don't necessarily have to change what you're doing, but you're also acknowledging and opening that vulnerability of communication.
There can be a compromise, but then you also have to understand that it falls within a hierarchy of the prioritization. You understand?
I do understand.
So it's like, and the example that I'm saying isn't stemming from me staying and living at work. What it stems from is the fact that I have to work 12 hours with clients, can't take a break to even send a text or put a thumbs up.
So why
like
would you
her
even be in a
post.
relationship if you can't give yourself emotionally to a person like that?
I'm not in a relationship.
But you will be eventually, right?
Probably not.
Okay. All right, back to Rich.
Wow.
No, but okay. So finishing off that point that I was trying to make is if that was the situation where I cannot take a break for like 12 hours, understand that love that you want during those 12 hours, you're just gonna get it later. That's a compromise.
Okay, that is a compromise, but I don't really think many women that have common sense are going to say that they don't feel loved if you're making it up somewhere else.
Many women also don't have common sense.
Okay. That's fair.
There we go.
So, Rich, what about you? So, the same question. So, say you're in a relationship, right? And, like, the woman tells you, like, I need that vulnerability from you. I need you to tell me what's wrong. I need you to share things with me, even if there is no compromise or no solution. I just want it because it makes me feel connected to you. It makes me feel deeper. I want to have those talks with you. Would you be willing to bring that guard down, even though you don't feel like there's function in it, like, or you like him where you're like, no, you're just gonna have to do it my way because I don't see the point.
The right now that's a work in progress.
As far as like being more vulnerable.
Yeah, because it's not me.
Okay. But it's something you're working on because it's been expressed, or you're recognizing that on yourself.
No, I think it's a necessity.
Okay, so you do recognize that it is a necessity.
Yeah, it's a necessity, but it has to almost, you have to kind of meet halfway.
Right.
Like the way you put it, it's almost like it's this or the highway. It
No,
isn't
not
the-
at all.
No.
Yeah.
I'm saying, but if you say I need that from you, it's almost like, well, you haven't even asked me what I need.
I asked this, right, because there's a lot of relationships that I know. Some of my friends have divorced because of this, right, where it's like, I've been trying to get to know my husband for like years. He won't talk to me. He doesn't really talk to me. I'm venting to him. He doesn't really listen to me. Vice versa. He doesn't vent to me. I vent to him. He doesn't listen.
What was that? Was it like that in the beginning?
He's just never been an emotional person, and it's like.
But okay, so sometimes what if you're just, I don't know your friends. Okay, so I'm just gonna make a general say. What if you're just clueless to what he's doing? So like for instance, if I text you, I just got home. I've had a hard day's work, and I go, oh, go ahead, go take a nap, go get some rest. Doesn't mean that's actually my way of showing that I care enough for you to tell you to go to go put your head down, go sleep, forget about your stressors. But sometimes women want you to be fucking lovey-dovey. Like want you to use fucking bring out the fucking ghost of Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Or Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, let me draw you like my French girls.
Wait,
you know what I mean?
Leonardo DiCaprio has a ghost? Is he dead?
Yeah.
When did he die?
On the Titanic.
Oh my God, that was a long ass movie.
Yeah.
I didn't see because I never watched it till the end.
What?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. You're
No,
lying.
I keep on falling asleep. If I ever need to fall asleep, I put on the Titanic and I fall asleep before the
Is he lying?
Anyway.
What
but,
the fuck? You haven't watched the Titanic till the end.
No.
Cap.
No, hasn't he come out with movies since then though?
I'm fucking with you. The ghost of
I know, but
Leonardo DiCaprio.
no, I'm saying like he
Jack.
said he's never watched it, but
That's a long ass movie. It's boring.
okay.
as fuck.
Anyways, that's besides
anyway,
the point.
but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes you don't know your husband because you're not really listening either. You put up this image of what you think the ideal husband would be. But he might actually be giving you all the fucking.
Okay, so this is one of I'll have an example. Okay, I'm not going to name who it is because I don't want to put her business out, right? But I had a friend.
Lizette.
They were together. No, they were together for years, right? And she was married to her husband, and he wasn't very thoughtful. He was a nice man, right? Which is why she stayed with him for a long time because he was just generally like nice, right? But my friend is a hopeless romantic, right? Hopeless romantic, and she always did like romantic things for him and like big, generous things for him. And his version of romance, because he knew that she loved hot Cheetos and flowers, right? He would buy her hot Cheetos and flowers on their anniversary like clockwork every fucking year.
Go, King.
And then she finally said to him like, hey, I love that. Don't get me wrong, but like, can we do something different one of these years? Like, we've like maybe for our 10-year do something special, or like, let's plan something. Like it was a very logical, and she's a very good at communicating. So it's not like he's in the dark of what she wants, right? She's not one of those, I'm going to give you the silent treatment and you're going to guess what I want. Like she literally told him like, I need you to try a little bit. I need you to still woo me the way that you kind of did in the beginning, like keep dating me kind of a thing, right? Like, but also come up with something else other than hot Cheetos and fries, like, can we go on a date sometimes? Like, can we incorporate date night once a week? Like she told him like, she would give him ideas. It got so bad to the point where me and him got very close, right? And I tried to help him plan their next anniversary because I knew that she was getting really fed up, right?
He wasn't gonna do it because felt forced now.
No, well, here's the thing. He called me and was like, hey, sister, what kind of things do you think I should do, right? Like, so I listed, his excuse all the time was money, right? And she told him, okay, I don't even need money. Like, if you just put 10 reasons of why you love me on a fucking Post-it note on our mirror, that would make me feel loved because you literally don't express why you love me ever. He is very much the logical, like, well, I married you, so obviously I love you, kind of thing. So she's like, I just need you to kind of tell me why you love me more. I need you to kind of like just show me, because you know how romantic I am. Like, can you reciprocate it a little bit? I'm not asking you to change, just a little bit, because I need it, right? I need to feel loved because I kind of feel like you're just kind of going through the motions now, And so he's like, hey, sister, what should I do? And I'm like, this is what we're going to do. Because you have limited time. You're going to let's buy, because I think it was like their 10-year anniversary. I was like, buy 10 balloons. On each balloon, write why you love her at the each end of balloon, end of the balloon. End of story. I know that will fucking make her so happy and she'll be so fucking stoked. Well, I don't know if I'm going to have time after work. Okay, I'll help you get the balloons. I'll do it. Well, my dad's with me, so I'll drive it over to your house. She wakes up really early, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to set it up. Who cares? Like, just do it, you know? Long story short, he came with hot Cheetos and flowers again. Like, and she was really upset, you know? She was just like, I know I shouldn't be crying. Like, I know it's not that big of a deal. It's not like he fucking cheated on me, but it's like literally the fact that I'm telling him that this is something that's important to me and that I'm feeling not loved. And he kind of was just like, well, let me just do what I know because it's easier. You know what I mean? Like that. Like, don't you think it's valid for a man to like reciprocate the woman's feelings and be vulnerable if your wife is like telling you that that's what she needs from you? Yeah. Like, you have to meet her halfway, right? And that. So you agree with me in that scenario?
Yeah, I'm just curious to know what's causing him to push back, because he's being told that that's what he has to do. So
I think he's just, well, like I said, he's really nice, but he's also really like clueless. I really think it's just him being dumb. Like, oh, I didn't know she was gonna get that upset. Like, even when she left him, right? He was like, she told him literally every for the last year. She told him like, I need this to change.
Was he like that before they got married?
What do you mean? Like,
what, was she expecting to marry him and he immediately changed?
From what I understand, he was very like that when they were like in their courting phase, like in the beginning. And then once they became serious, he turned like that. So she's like, where's that romance from the beginning, you know? And he kind of just became complacent, and he's not like a crazy guy who would be home every day with her, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like it was every day the same thing over and over again.
I personally think that what he was after the courting phase is actually him.
Right. So the fake was the courting phase, and then the real him.
Yeah, and then you expected him to change, but he changed to the real self.
Do you think that happens more often than not with girls? Because I've heard this story a couple times.
Yeah, because sometimes you blind yourself. You meet some guy and you said she was hopeless romantic. Right?
Yes. So
she's thinking fucking Barbie princess dollhouse, type of life.
Right, exactly.
And you know, she's like, you're walking on clouds, but you're when you're doing that, you just miss all the red flags.
Yes, yeah. So that's kind of like,
and he might not necessarily. How he does things might not necessarily be a red flag to everybody.
Right.
It's just those are your own personal red flags.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. So what do you say in that situation where it's a guy that doesn't communicate and you're trying and there's nothing? You think that that's a hopeless situation?
I don't. There's always a couples therapy. Did they ever try that?
No, they didn't. That's the one thing that I said to them that they should try, and they both didn't want to. So that's their bad, I guess. You know?
Well, I mean, so at some point though, like if you guys care enough for each other, you're gonna have to look each other in the eye and go, it's either divorce or therapy.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're saying that he didn't even think that she was gonna leave him, right?
Yeah. Even though she told him, like, hey, I need this to change. I really do, because it's really hurting me. I'm unhappy enough that I want to leave. And he just kept doing the same thing. And then when she left, so for example, there was this book that she wanted him to read, right? That was really important that I had suggested to them because it was a book that was given to me, right? And I was like, I think this might help you guys out. So she read it front to end because she really wanted the relationship to work. He didn't read it at all. And the day he received the divorce paper, he read the whole entire book, hoping that it was going to save it that last minute. And she was just like, I've been asking you for a whole fucking year to read that book, and you want to read it now that you got the fucking divorce papers on them?
I mean,
yeah.
That's the hard part, is like when somebody's emotionally checked out, there's not really no saving it.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know. I mean, I'd figure if the guy in his desperation read it, there might be something there.
No, I know what book that is, and it's a waste of time. It was a bad ending. It's not even a story.
What? Okay.
But anyway, no, I mean it's just like those are always complicated about people that don't open up.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're different love languages. Sometimes it's just different ways of showing. Like if in Vince's case, if he works 14-hour days to keep the lights on and the roof over your head and then your nice car and your vacations. Well, that's the way he's showing you love too.
Yeah.
Like,
So
is he vocal? Not necessarily, but you can't ask him for more.
Right.
I mean, who's in the wrong there?
Exactly.
If he's doing all that,
Yeah.
and then you're asking,
Well, especially this, because he presents it from the beginning. Like, he tells you from the beginning, like, I'm never going to be that guy. So whoever's with Vince in the future needs to just accept that he's not
Yes.
going to be a vulnerable guy.
Vince will never
Sorry.
be that guy again.
Oh, yeah. Because again. Very true.
This is the origin story.
Yes, exactly.
This is how villains are made.
And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about the whole suffering in silence, because I feel like every man has that origin story, whether it's like mama problems or they were defeated by a girlfriend or something. Like, I feel like maybe not everyone, because there is some just like genuine assholes out there, but I feel like some of the guys that do this suffer in silence wearing the mask is because there's an origin story somewhere, That's just me. I don't know. What do you think about that? You don't think that every guy has an origin story?
Every guy has an origin story, except when we talk about like, we have to separate it, right? We have to, like how we talked about. There's always going to be the task-driven stressors,
Yeah.
and then the emotional stressors, and it's harder to deal with the emotions than it is the task. Task is like you fucking plan it and get it done,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, for me to plan and get it done, I could just wallow in my own self-misery until that gets done. But I don't think that's a negative thing. I think, like, reverting into your hole and just basically, like, negating all your emotions, it's like
It's not necessarily bad if it fixes it at the end.
it's like you bury the hatchet, but you leave the handle sticking out,
Okay.
right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that
it's
makes
like the wound
sense.
heals, but the scar always remains.
That's deep. I'm about to clip that.
So I mean, you do that. I mean, that's where the biggest trick is like navigating the emotional side.
Right.
But it's also like you also, as a partner to somebody, you also have to be very aware of where that person is on the emotional side
And their boundaries.
Yeah, and their boundaries. And if the guy or the girl is trying and you see the trying, just acknowledge it and then move on.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't be like pushing it for more.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you can't really force the guy to all of a sudden be Romeo.
But in like the example, when is enough enough?
Huh?
When is enough enough in that example? If he's like, but I am going to be Romeo, just give me time.
Well, then how much time?
Right. That's
Like,
what I'm asking you.
if he's
Because you're like, don't push the guy, but
Yeah,
you're
but
like,
but if he's an idiot and tells you, just give me time, well, how much is time?
yeah. You're telling her
You're,
to ask
you're a
that?
fucking idiot. A guy would be an idiot to say, "Oh, I'll be your Romeo. Just give me time." The fuck is like? What are you talking about? This is not a video game. You're trying to level up. And quite
So you're
honestly,
saying they can't do that? They can't level up?
no, saying, like,
They are who they are.
But by the time you tell a girl that your partner, as a guy, it's practically over
Yeah.
because now you're begging for it.
Yeah.
Now you've seized control, and psychologically, you're now beneath them.
Yeah.
You've shown your weakness.
Yeah. It's true. All right.
It is.
It is. Well, okay, Vince. Like, I'm just going to not ask any more questions on this side.
I'm gonna title this "The Origin Story."
I know. That's what I'm saying. Vince, do you want to talk more about your origin story before we end this? And why you have one?
What do you mean?
Wait. Cut. to like the Marvel scene.
I know, right?
Exactly.
The origin story of why you suffer in silence, essentially. But you say you don't have one because I don't even think that you've fully processed why you are the way that you are.
You're up here just trying to dig deep right now the whole time.
I don't know. I mean, if you can get to the core of this, that's cool.
I
But
probably
we're already an hour and 30 minutes
Yeah,
into
so
this
that's what I'm
episode.
like.
So
Yeah.
like,
All right.
I think that it will take more than like 7 minutes to get.
I mean,
to the core.
we've been trying to get this origin story for like how many podcasts?
We're
How
getting
many
there.
episodes?
But I don't think that I've been like secretive. I just like there's nothing I can think of.
Now, I don't think he's been secretive. It's just we know where all the roots lie.
Right.
But the thing, I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to have him say it.
Right. Well, I'm trying to have him realize it.
Wait,
too.
what am I
I-
not
I-
saying? What is it that I'm not saying?
It doesn't matter. Okay. Well, you guys, thank you for listening. If you are suffering in silence, just know that it is healthier to find a confidant to vent things out to and talk to, unless you're Vince.
It's okay to suffer in silence is basically what we're trying to say.
No, we do not condone that on here. We want you to take care of yourself mentally, spiritually, physically. That is me personally. That is actually why I created this podcast. I wanted there to be a safe space for people to talk about anything and everything. Like sometimes I struggle because people are like, what is your podcast about? What's the niche? And I'm like, there is none. I want everybody to come here with an open mind, an open heart, no judgment. We can argue, debate openly without people talking shit and getting upset. We can cry, laugh, talk about sex, dicks, like whatever, without anybody getting upset and everybody
My
just
dick.
hearing, yeah, you know, what would it be without that? There would be no Be Uplifted without that. But yeah, so don't suffer in silence. Don't listen to Vince. And I want to start, if I give you like links and stuff, can we say that we'll link things in the description bar if I send them to you of like hotlines and stuff for like mental health? Would
Yes.
you do that?
Sure.
Click the links below, buy my merch, and
Yeah,
whatever
by
else
the way,
she's talking about.
Do you guys want Be Uplifted merch? I don't know. Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. That would be awesome.
I'm down.
All right.
Down with Vince, like just like a black hole. Vince is here.
If you guys vote that we're going to put out merch, one of the hoodies that I promised you guys on a previous episode, I think it was the one that just released, is a sweater or a hoodie that says, by reading this you accept, or I assume consent. Or something.
Yeah, by reading this,
Wow.
you assume consent.
Yep.
Yeah.
And nobody steal that. That's patented for this guy right here. All right, you guys. Thank you guys again for tuning in. This was kind of a long one, but I hope you guys got something out of it. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Good job, friends.
So did I episode wrong or what?
No. You episode perfect.
Okay.
You played the role I wanted you to play.